Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on where you're listening from, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Resume Whisperer and Corporate Culturist. I'm Josef Stetter, your host. I wanted to take the time to talk about a topic that seems to be always trending and popular on social media and in general in the world of finding a great job, which is salary. Okay, so understand, first of all, if you've made it to the stage where salary is now the final piece of the puzzle and, potentially getting offers, congratulations to you. You've done what many people are struggling to do off the bat kind of thing. So those are things that to be aware of that you need to kind of understand that there are stages of the salary questions that I want to kind of address. I addressed it in previous episodes, but I want to kind of revisit, and then I want to kind of add to that because that seems to be something that many people are concerned about. So in the first stages of the interview, i.e. your first interview, it's a first screening interview on the phone, or it's kind of just the first interview, try to avoid discussing salary as much as possible because you don't want the employer to feel that all you care about is salary. And yes, they will ask you a few times. Now, rule of thumb is if they ask you like once, you can say, listen, this is a first interview or this is a screening interview. We're still getting to know each other. I haven't decided whether or not this is the company I want to work for, and you haven't decided if I'm the perfect candidate for you. So before we discuss salary, can I get a better understanding of the role, the responsibility, where it fits in the organizational chart, the opportunities for growth in it, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, use whatever lingo you want. And then second is kind of that idea that now if they insist and they ask 2 to 3 times, please never ever give an exact number. Always give a range. So, use websites like payscale.com, Monster, LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. There's always ranges there. Like if you do a Google search and say, what is the salary range for my state or my province for this profession or this industry, you'll get. So take those numbers, use them as a starting point or a guide. Again, if no mention of salary was in the job description, they called you for an interview, say, when I applied for this job, there was no mention of salary. What is the range for the opportunity? And whatever they say to you, just agree with it and say, yes, that's the range I was thinking about. So that's kind of the general thought of what you need to do for salary. Now, if you've reached second, third interview where now it's really down to semantics, I need the listeners to understand this. Salary should not be the deciding factor in accepting a job. In the top 10 reasons why people leave a job, salary is actually number 7. Right. Salary should be a kind of what is the value that you're bringing? Because as an employee, you're expected to help a company make money, save money, or increase efficiency. So if your level of expertise, skills, both soft and hard, can result in making money, saving money, or increasing efficiency, your salary shouldn't matter that much. If a company is nickel and diming you on $5,000 to $10,000, don't walk away from that company, run. Let me repeat. If a company is nickel and diming you on $5,000 to $10,000, which might be a principal thing for you or help in terms of the monthly payments for you, depending on the structure, depending on the state or province that you live in, the taxation model that they have, right? It's a clear sign of how they're going to treat you at work, because yes, every company wants to pay you as little as possible to get the most out of you. But if $5,000 is going to drive that company into bankruptcy, it's telling you what's going to happen. If that $5,000 is going to affect their bottom line that much, that I guarantee you in the work environment, they will nickel and dime you on everything. Oh, you took this stapler. We're going to charge you for it. We're going to do this. Because yes, the dynamic of the workforce has drastically shifted because of the pandemic. There are now more work from home, remote, hybrid environments. And now everybody has kind of said, I only want to be hybrid. If you're willing to come into the office, there's an added bonus because companies want to bring employees back. Okay. They're trying to figure out the best solution where you could still work from home sometime, but still be in the office for the sake of the camaraderie, for the sake of, the water cooler conversations. But the salary itself should not be the deciding factor. What most people fail to understand is that if you speak in the interview and focus it on the significance of your work, or you focus it on the results that you produced and how you can do it better for whatever employer is interviewing you, salary shouldn't matter. So in the world of job finding, there are acronyms like STAR, situation, task, action, result; SOAR, situation, objective, action, result; PASS, problem, action, solution; PAR, problem, action, result; CAR, concern, action, result; SMART, specific, measurable, achievements, results in time. They're all the same thing. In English, for some reason or another, I'm still trying to understand why, we keep finding new ways to ask or say the exact same thing. In Shakespeare's time, we had 100,000 words. Now we have 500,000 words. And most of the time, it's just new versions of the same word. So understand that situation, task, action, result, STAR, SOAR, PAR, CAR, PASS, ADA, they're all the same variation of, can you make me money? Can you save me money? Can you increase my efficiency? If you do a great job of highlighting why you are better, different, or other than other people that are applying for this job, the negotiation becomes a lot easier. The flexibility on what you can ask for becomes a lot easier. Okay. In 20 years of recruiting, I've had extremes where I negotiated a $500,000 raise to somebody in 4.5 hours. I spoke about that in my previous episode about salary. Okay. I've negotiated parking. I've negotiated cell phones, laptops, car allowance in terms of gas. I've negotiated pet care. I've negotiated daycare. I've negotiated health and wellness. So, everybody has their own version. I know that my producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, who runs USA Global TV and Radio, is obsessed with CoreFit and a few other workouts. So you can get your employer to pay for that. If you're into MMA, you can get your employers to pay for that. But the point is, even though it might be $50 a month, it's the principle that you're going to bring so much value to the company that they don't care about your gym membership or your health practices. And for those of you who are even more focused on health, even your vitamins and your protein shakes and everything like that can be negotiated. Understand, and I've said this throughout multiple episodes, turnover costs about $1.4 trillion in North America to businesses. One open position average costs $100,000 a month. So if you have a company that has a position open for 5-6 months, that means that that company, at the bare minimum, has lost $500,000. That's not including revenues that could come in if there was more people doing work, for example. That's just on the operational cost of people getting burnt out, people calling in sick, people stopping to care about their job because they're doing all this extra work with no extra money or no extra recognition, no extra reward. And so they change their mindset from, I'll do just enough not to get fired, versus let me be proactive, let me find ideas, let me share them, let me help you succeed. So understand that when a company hires you, and I want people to understand how the psychology of hiring works, okay? When a job is posted on Indeed, that means that company has reached desperation, because most companies will tell their staff that they need to hire and ask for recommendations. Okay. If there's no recommendations, they'll post it on their website. Okay. If there's nobody responding on their website, they might post it on tools like LinkedIn, or with employment agencies, because they don't want to get 5,000 resumes. So the agency will screen out people for them. If they're posting on job boards, they're not finding anybody for this job, which means there is some power to you as the candidate in terms of what you can ask for. Again, the salary decision is based on the urgency of filling the position. It's based on how well you highlighted that you will produce incredible results, that you will cut costs by percentages of 20-30%, that you will make things faster and more efficient by percentages or dollars, or that you will rearrange inventory so that things flow faster and it makes sense. Whatever version, whatever career you have, salary is not the deciding factor in hiring. When a company has decided to post a job and announce it on social media and whatever the case may be, they understand that they need this position filled in order to be more operationally effective, in order to make more money in the long run. So it's not about, well, I'm afraid to ask for this, or I'm afraid to ask for that. Okay. This is no different in the world of coaching and mentoring. The more you have established credibility, the more people will pay you for what you're worth or what you can guide them to do. Okay, so understand, it's a model where it's a cultural fit, technical skills fit, character skills or soft skills fit, addressing specific issues fit, that when you are hired, that problem goes away, or those problems associated with that position might go away. That's why there is. And so it's not about, okay, yes, every company has, especially if they have a established HR, kind of the definition of what the pay range is, the definition of what success looks like, and the definition of what they expect the results to be. Now, the definition and the actual can be very different, because, like I've said in many instances, any professional in their field should know the steps that are needed to get results. It doesn't necessarily mean that they get results. I hired marketing firms to help me level up, paid them a lot of money, got zero results. Why? Because they did a copy and paste of, oh, we use this AI tool and we do that for all our clients, and we're just going to do it the same. They didn't understand my story. They don't understand why I'm a different expert than other experts in my realm. How much knowledge and wisdom I have actually acquired over, let's say a 30-year career of switching careers and learning about business, reading, attending workshops, attending webinars, um, hiring mentors, to kind of go, okay, I might not be at this level of income, but I have that level of knowledge right now. And so this is part of the process. Salary negotiation is a form of what is your value. If you don't have confidence in your value, chances are the employer will not either. I made this connection and I want to repeat this. Okay. By no means am I a pickup artist. I'm very happily married. I have 2 beautiful kids. But in general, if someone approaches you and goes, hi, can I get your number? His or her or their chances are slim and none. Slim because you might be physically attractive to that person, and so they'll try to give you a chance to speak to them. But as a heterosexual male, having read a multitude of psychological research papers, most women look for a guy that has confidence and sense of humor. Those are the 2 categories. Yes, there is a type in terms of physical and so forth, but if you have confidence, especially, sometimes the looks can bypass. I can speak from experience on that because I've always yo-yoed with my weight. And when I was single, sometimes when I didn't have that confidence, it came through. Once I got that confidence, I met my beautiful wife. We've been together for 7 years. And I thank God every minute for her in my life. Okay. But that confidence is part of the interview. That confidence is the most important thing in why a company should value. Okay. And again, in recent, even within the last 2 weeks, I know of friends of mine and individuals that were offered, for example, over $30,000 raises to stay when they finally told their employer, I'm leaving. So clearly there's money somewhere. If you understand the importance of confidence and the importance of messaging, this is my value. This is why I do things better, different, or other. You will get better perks, pay, benefits, and everything else that goes with it. Okay. Again, it's all about perceived value and confidence. Okay. There is and always will be a need for people. Yes, AI has shifted some of the roles and responsibility or some of the success rate of getting to the interview. But if you've gotten to that stage, congratulations. It's not an easy stage to get to. And you're now in that salary phase. Awesome. But take advantage of the fact that when you say, I'm this good and I produce this much result, and you demonstrate that with confidence, if you do the right sequence of words to say, here's why I will do it better than everybody else, companies will throw things at you. Bonuses, stock options, profit sharing, the gamut of what can be negotiated has become quite broad. Even vacations can be negotiated, key performance measures. So this is where I want people to understand. And, 2 weeks ago, I had a rant about other experts. I'm going to tie into this rant a little bit as well. Okay. In that there's a lot of experts, especially on TikTok, that are scripting for you word for word what to say in salary negotiations. Now, here's the problem with that. You become a robot or a parrot. You sound like everybody else. I purposely designed systems that teach you the psychology in order for you to sound yourself, to use your vocabulary, to use your experiences, your education, your background, your results to justify why you are great. Okay. And I can tell you that when it's done correctly, salary negotiation is actually quite easy, because if you reach the stage where you're one of 2 or 3 candidates that they're interested in and you're kind of their first choice, companies understand the value that you'll bring in. And so there'll be flexibility on why they're offering you, so forth, because they don't want to nickel and dime. And again, companies that nickel and dime you, chances are you're going to look for employment very quickly within 6 months if the nickel and diming continues while you're working there. Okay. Sadly, we are creatures of habit, and most people are terrified to leave a job because, they have bills to pay and so forth. Again, looking for a job and interviewing does not mean quit your job. It means being strategic in how you approach it. Okay, so salary, again, can vary. I had people, when I built my call center from scratch, I worked for a company that owned approximately 70 private colleges spread out across Canada. The VP asked me to build a call center from scratch with restrictions that my team will call leads that are more than 4 months old and more than 50 miles or 75 kilometers from the nearest campus. And again, do phone calls, outbound phone calls to try and generate sales. And the company had budgeted that my team will do $2.25 million. Or sorry, my team will do $300,000 in extra business for the company. My team did $2.25 million in less than 6 months. Each one of those individuals that worked on my team stayed in touch with me. And my initial team had about 12 people. All 12 of them, since I left, the company felt that the way that the business was done, how it was done, changed, and asked me to mentor them. And all 12 of them, within a matter of 2 years, were able to almost double their salary. Where, let's say, when I hired them, they were making, for example, $35,000 to $45,000 a year. I coached them and I mentored them, and they were able to land positions for $70,000, $80,000 because they created value that companies went, I can't afford not to hire you. And that is where you need to get to. Understand that the whole process of interviewing has psychology and has layers of psychology in it that most people don't think about and have never been taught about. Okay, your physiology is the first thing I measure or look at to see before you even speak. Your physiology will tell me or good interviewers whether or not you're worth it. Because if I ask you a question about teamwork and your face is angry, or you give me the generic, yeah, okay, I help other people kind of answer, your energy will tell me certain things, right? Your posture will tell me things. Your gestures will tell me things. The way your eyes move when you speak will tell me certain things. Okay. The examples you give me will give me insights. The results you focus on will give me insights. All of those affect the level of negotiation that can occur. I can tell you that as a recruiter, I've had clients break every single rule to hire the one person that they knew was correct, right? Where like an accounting firm that had 20 partners that had to vote and agree to offer a candidate a $30,000 salary increase, profit sharing, bonuses, parking spot, cell phone, laptop, because that person had specific skill sets that was so lacking in the industry that they were like, we've been looking for 4 months. We don't have any other option. Okay. Again, if you distinguish why you are better, different, or other, salary is simply a conversation of I want this, or I need this. Okay. There is a level where, again, if you're working in a unionized environment, there are standardized ranges. They will not be broken. But there's also a level that if you're applying on your own, then you have more flexibility on the negotiations. If you're applying through a recruiting agency or employment agency, whatever you want to call it, they have certain guidelines, but don't be afraid to ask for things that might not be part of the guidelines, because those will get you the job. And in most cases, even if you want vacations as a, for example, salesperson, if I say to you, okay, I need you to generate this much sales for me, and it's going to cost me $5,000 to $10,000 of vacation, but you've generated me, let's say, $1 million, I would be stupid not to give you that vacation. Because if you get that vacation, you're going to come back happier. You're going to be excited that now you can earn another vacation. And so you're going to generate another $1 million for me. So if you're generating $1 million for me for a $10,000 vacation, in a heartbeat, I would do that to you, right? And so this is what you need to understand. The world has changed. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying it's there. But if you try to be in the same box as everybody else, you will get what everybody else is getting. If you listen to some of these experts that say, okay, when it comes to salary negotiation, you need to say, this is what I've talked about. This is the word for word for what they say. You're not going to have a lot of success in negotiating higher salaries. If you present, look, I'm very good at what I do. I'm worth every penny, and you're going to get more than you expect from me. Therefore, my salary should not be a concern. Therefore, however you want to structure it, whether it's a front end, back end, multiple incentives thing, you want to do a 3 months probation with me, great. But when I produce these results, I want in writing that I get this. You want to renegotiate my contract after 3 months? Okay. But let's put in writing what my incentives are to perform beyond your expectations, right? In terms of probation, whether it's your job title, whether it's the level of responsibility, whether it's the size of the market, whether it's the level of work you do. There's a lot of things that you can negotiate and prove that your expertise will create it. Again, if you present information, and also the longer a position's been open in a company, the more desperate that company is for somebody, which means they'll probably offer more money than they initially thought they would offer. Okay. And so understand that I've had clients that have offered a 50% increase in salary. And then on top of that, a whole bunch of things just to hire great people. Because again, we've lost somewhere along the lines this notion of common sense. We've lost this notion of value added. People seem to just kind of do the bare minimum and have a mindset of good enough and expect that because it's good enough, or I did the bare minimum, you owe me something, right? I've talked about the book Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich several times. Other books, by industry, I have Brian Tracy, any book by him, right? It's value added. What are you offering that's better, different, or other than other people in order for them to trust you, to buy you, or to let you produce results? Okay. Again, in my world, especially now with ChatGPT, there's a ton of people that say, hey, I'm a very good writer. I can use ChatGPT and I can write your resume. By all means, if they've spent the time to teach ChatGPT who they are, what their background is, what their style of writing is, how to be unique, how to be different, how to, quantify certain things, how to connect it to job descriptions, yes, they are experts. But just because you can go on ChatGPT, the free account, and say, ChatGPT, write me a resume, doesn't mean that resume is going to be amazing. Doesn't mean that resume is going to tell your story. Doesn't mean that that resume is going to do justice to the salary that you deserve. Okay. And this is where you've switched careers, you've taken a break, you try to be an entrepreneur, whatever variables there are, they don't matter. At the end of the day, companies need results. They need to know that they're going to pay you, let's say $100,000, and whatever you do is going to save them $1 million or make them $1 million, or you're going to increase productivity in the department or in the area by X amount of percent, which will result in a lot more money anyhow. Yes, I'm repeating myself a lot because I don't know, maybe it's when I go into Instagram, sometimes TikTok, some of my feeds, all these experts that are like word for word, okay, say this exactly, do this. Again, I'm not, statistically speaking for social media. Again, there's psychology, and I apologize if I offend anybody here, but females, attractive, tentatively blonde, tend to have higher views. I'm none of those. I'm not blonde, I'm not female, and I would give myself cute. I don't know if I would fall into the hello, look at him kind of category. But I'm confident enough to know here's what I bring to the table that's different. Here's the value I have. Here's my sense of humor. Here's how I interact with my family. But I trust that my confidence in that will surpass the hello, hold the phones reaction. And even when I've needed to apply for jobs, I've always come in and says, here's the results I produce. Here's how I tie it in so that I can do it better for your company because I already have knowledge. I already have experience. I've already learned the hard part before coming to you. Okay, so salary is a conversation. It's a conversation just like dating. It's a conversation just like talking about who is the GOAT in any given sport, which seems to be very popular, especially in basketball. People can spend hours and weeks finding every statistic possible to say this person's the GOAT. Great. If that's what your opinion is, more power to you. Everybody has their own definition of what the GOAT is. In the job market, you need to become your own GOAT by going, here's the results I produce, and I can produce them better than other people. I can do it in a way that you will look at me in a year and go, wow, hiring you was the best decision we've made, right? And so this is where, again, it's relative. And I want to say this because I'm also getting very frustrated in how saturated this market is becoming with cut and paste of the same message, right? Make sure you check who your experts are. What made them an expert? What is their credibility or their background? Whether it's education, whether it's experience, whether it's success rate, whether it's, testimonials. Even the testimonials, every website can say, here's, make up a name and say, this person said that I'm amazing. Do a little bit of due diligence to see that those testimonials are real, that they exist. Company, look at the company, look if that person still works for the company. That will give you a hint, for example. But, understand there are lots of experts out there. And your decisions can be influenced by your culture, by your ethnic background, by language, by location, by a multitude of variables. They're all correct. And again, there's 160 million people in Canada and the United States that need help, mainly in the United States, that need help finding a job. Don't get me wrong. If 160 million people wanted to become my client, I'm not going to say no to it. That's not including companies. That's just job seekers, right? But I'm very realistic in that my personal goal is to impact, empower, and help 1.8 million people land their dream job. That's me. That means there's 157 or 158.2 million people that other experts can help. Hell, some of them might even buy some of my material and then copy it and even do it better than me and make more money. I don't care. Honestly, I don't. I truly believe there's abundance for everybody. There's, plenty of opportunities, and God will provide from a perspective of, if it's not helping people land their job, it might be through strategic partnership, it might be through joint ventures, it might be through other means where all of a sudden someone goes, let's do a business like this together because you have this skill set, I have this skill set, let's change the world together. So I don't care if you copy my materials and then make it your own and make more money than me. I really don't. My purpose is to empower people. And the reason that I have, I'll call them authentic conversation rather than memorized scripts. You can hear it because you can see on my face, I'm thinking about what I'm saying. Sometimes I have filler words like and, or because I'm trying to come up with the right sentence. This is not pre-scripted, but I purposely don't spend time on my podcast or when I do podcast interviewing, giving you a scripted word for word, here's the formula, follow this exactly, and you'll be successful. Because I don't believe in that. I believe that is ruining the job market. That is creating a lot of failure because there's no reason to hire you. There's no reason to choose you because you sound and look and behave like everybody else. If you go to ChatGPT and say, write me a resume for accounting, ChatGPT will give you, here's the most standard resume for accounting. But it's not going to say why you're a great accountant. It's not going to say what work you've done that makes you smarter, better, faster, more efficient than anybody else. And the more you can hone in on that skill set, the better your offers will be. Plain and simple. I need you to understand. Be proactive in listening to multiple ideas and pick the ones that work for you. And as always, if you like what I'm saying, please subscribe and like the show. Right? Please share the episodes with people that are going through this. And I will be taking a short break with podcasting for about a month and a half, but I will come back. I promise that I will continue to deliver you content. Don't be shy. Try to get a hold of me. I thank you again for listening, for tuning in, for asking questions. And I promise that if you post questions on all the social media platforms, I will respond to you. My name is Josef Stetter, and I am the Resume Whisperer and Corporate Culturist. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon, and make it productive.